that game.
Sorry.
Okay, let me hit the okay, but yeah, just amazing memories and bunch of special young men that are now not so young, you know.
You guys were a team. The coaching staff was a team of its own way back when, and of course, like you said, the team they're grown men now. But I want to talk about your past, certainly, but I want to talk about the team right now.
Sure.
What are your takeaways from such a successful season thus far to the point they're in the playoff?
Well, I think that's amazing because you're talking about 12 teams. Tennessee is one of them. Think about how many people would just love to be in it. So my hat's off to Coach Heupel and his staff, and I've gotten closer and closer with them and have great respect for the job they do. And to take a young quarterback on offense. And he's had a little bit of his ups and downs, but finding the way to go and win critical games that you had to win to get there. And none of them are easy. And the environment that we're in right now is a little more complex than it was in 1996. Just to put a team together, to bring a locker room close. And I've been a fan of Josh Heupel ever since I coached against him as a quarterback in a bowl game. And I didn't want to see him again as a player. I love seeing him as a coach, but they've just done a terrific job. And they do what they do. They run the ball real well. They can still come up with big plays in the passing game. And then let's talk about the reality is their defense has been amazing. I watched them in practice a good bit, and you could see that reality of that defensive front. I mean, you go over there and watch them in their individual drills, and Rodney Garner is I recruited Rodney Garner when he was in high school, believe it or not. Tried to get him to come to Tennessee, and he got it wrong and went to Auburn. So, but I really am impressed with what Tennessee's done this year.
What is going to be the key to success for a win over Ohio State?
Well, to win in these environments, you got to win all three phases, and there's different ways to win a phase. You got kicking game is going to be critically important, whether it's field position or producing points or creating an opportunity, and then defensively play as good as they've been playing. And I think one of the critical things defensively, if you can force a turnover or two, that was one of the big differences in the '96 game. We were playing an extremely talented Ohio State team. So it's the same circumstance. And then, what young quarterbacks need to understand, what the most important thing about every single play you run in that game, young quarterback, is that we still have the ball when the play's over. No turnovers, okay? So, and stay on schedule. Don't get penalized and don't have lost yardage plays. And that's big in bowl games and certainly in a playoff structure.
You alluded to this a moment ago, but similarities, differences between UT Ohio State of 1996 and 2024.
Well, the stakes are a lot bigger, so there's a lot of pressure. We were starting a sophomore quarterback, was a pretty fair player in his own right, but that Ohio State team, when you looked at them, people forget Mike Vrabel was on that team as a defensive lineman, and Sean Springs. I mean, their secondary was really good. I had great concerns about potentially turning the ball over against this aggressive team and the matchups from an offense to defense. And then you flipped it over and you looked at Eddie George, and that they were not just Eddie George. They did things well in the passing game. Walt Harris, who was a former Tennessee coach I worked with, was their quarterbacks coach. And then Orlando Pace may have been the biggest offensive lineman that I've ever seen in my life. And I'll never forget, Leonard Little was a guy that I recruited to Tennessee. And Leonard looked at him in pregame warm up and in those events prior to a bowl game. He's like, he's a giant. He's a giant. So Ohio State's built much like that. I mean, they've got those big physical guys, and they passed the look test. And again, in that game, Jeff Hall, who was another guy that I personally recruited, that I deeply love, 2 field goals were the difference. And Jeff was terrific. We were good in the kicking game. So I think it's a lot of the same look for both teams. Now, we were playing in Florida, not in Columbus, Ohio. I'm going to the
winter.
game. Yeah, I'm going to the game, and I am going to wear a coat, believe me. So
what is your take though on Tennessee's place in the selection? I know that was a discussion point.
Yeah, well, I'm an SEC guy. Okay, let's face it, and I don't think I think we're going to learn from this process. When you look at the first year of doing this and the college football playoff, they got a lot of good qualified people, but the laws of unintended consequences happen more often when you don't have, I'm going to say, practitioners, people that have really been in this setting. So, Nick Saban said it on Sunday, the strength of schedule has to matter more, not in the end, all the way along. So when you start ranking teams, and it became very obvious to me that it was about losses, not strength of schedule. And so if you were 1 loss, 2 loss, 3 loss, you were the 3 loss team going to stay all the time behind somebody with less losses. And that's not equitable when you look at a college football schedule. It's a little more equitable in the NFL because there's only 32 teams and they're all pretty close from a talent perspective. So I would like to have seen Tennessee host a game. Selfishly, I think they earned that. You go through this league and do what they did, absolutely they earned that opportunity. But again, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. This is a difficult process. And when you've never done it before, you're going to see a lot of things you're going to do differently next year.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to try something here because I want to show you something. We're going to go back to, actually, this is 1995. We pulled this out of the archive, and hopefully you can hear and see this.
It was a game of
my.
The Tennessee families enjoys. That's Katie Cutcliffe, the daughter of Tennessee offensive coordinator David Cutcliffe.
You know that little cutie there, right?
Absolutely. She she's a Tennessee grad, as is Chris, as is Marcus. Our adopted son works over there, and they're proud Tennessee grads. And actually, since Marcus will be there, Katie can't go, but I'm going to take our son Chris, who was in the background of that, to the ball game in Columbus. So it'll be awesome to be a fan. And Chris was at, of course, and Katie were at the 95/96 ball game. So it's a big deal. And all of our grandchildren are Tennessee fans. So it's kind of fun.
And to look over the course of your career, yes, so many years here at UT, then on to Ole Miss, then on to Duke, Notre Dame, and now at the SEC. I do want to talk about where you are now, but but your heart clearly will always have a place. UT will always have a place in your heart.
I married the prettiest girl in East Tennessee when I came up there, and she's a Tennessee grad. And the reason, though, it is in my heart is that, 19 years at a very pivotal time in your life, the passion of the Tennessee fan base, the friends that we have in Knoxville. I mean, how do you get a better place to live than Knoxville, Tennessee? And every time I come back and I walk in that stadium, I get goosebumps. I just, it almost takes my breath away. And I've gone in there before by myself and gone up to the very top and stand up there by the Vols sign and just look down, and it's fun to remember. When I went back that little 2-year time, I did that to the whole offensive team. I took them up. They didn't know where they were going. I made them walk up every ramp and all of the steps. And I said, I want you to see what Rocky Top really is. And from here, you can see it, guys. It was my first year back, and that was Eric Ainge and all his teammates on offense. And I said, people make this walk every week because they love to watch you guys play. You've got to learn to respect that. You've got to care and understand why this is called Rocky Top. And yeah, I'm getting excited just thinking about it.
Bring us up to date on you. You are with the SEC now. We'd love
Yes.
to know what your life is looking like now.
Ooh, well, they called me when retirement looked like it was, going to be all good. And Greg Sankey asked me to fly to Birmingham. He had an idea, and they've never had a coach. And he knew we were getting ready to be in somewhat of a tumultuous time. They've never had a coach in-house on staff. And they said, would you consider helping us navigate through this? And I couldn't kind of figure out exactly what that meant. They didn't know either. I said, is there a job description? No. You write that. And I said, okay, that's better. I kind of like that. But they titled me a Dwight Schrute title. If you've ever watched The Office, I'm a special assistant to the commissioner for football relations, whatever that means. But what got me was that term relations. You just mentioned my time at Tennessee. Sports is the greatest relationship business of them all. And relations is short for relationships. And so I go to all 16 schools. When I get to a campus visit, the first place I'm going to go is the equipment room, because those boys know everything that's going on in the football building and then the training room. And, I think I have a real feel for what players are going through now, certainly what coaches are going through. And my job is, again, be there for them, build relationships. I can't just be a friend. Sometimes I got to tell them what I really see and what I really believe. But I am a conduit between coaches, a program, you should say, and the conference office. And I think I've helped the conference office understand certain things that are happening, why they're so hard. And then I'll tell you this, I have learned, Robin, why it just means more, because I'm a guy that always went in on a bus and an escort, right? Now I park my car and I'm like everybody else walking to the stadium. And I am blown away by not just our Tennessee fans, but our Southeastern Conference fans. And I remind people in the conference all the time, the only reason it just means more is our fan base. It's not the television contracts. There's no television contracts without our fans. So I want to say thank you specifically to those Tennessee fans for all your hard work that you go through to support the Tennessee football program. And I know many of you will be going up there in the cold in Columbus if you can do that. And but it's an amazing role. I've learned in these 3 years kind of the other side of the street a little bit, and I think I appreciate it all more. I'm a little concerned that our fans are going to be the ones that pay for the structure of name, image, and likeness, and then all of a sudden here one day, gone the next for players who that's hard on people. And hopefully there are guardrails that come. Hopefully there is some sense to this that comes, but that remains to be seen.
Yes, that you hit the question I was going to ask. This is a part of college sports now, and there's no going back. But you make that point. There need to be guardrails.
Yeah, I mean, and we're here to help young people. We always have been. I think it came across like they were being given nothing. That's not the case. And I know the coaches today make an enormous amount of money, and I understand that. But I want players to be properly cared for. The success stories are still education. And I think our presidents have to uphold that. I don't know how easy it is to go to 4 schools. You may get a degree. I don't know if you're going to get an education. Understanding that the real prize is a college. I'm going to talk football, and that I'm all athletes, but the real prize a college football player can have, and I told Peyton, Eli, all of them this, is that when somebody comes back to you after you've invested 4 or 5 years of your life with them, and they say, "Hey, man, you were the best teammate I ever had." Mm-hmm. Wow. That's magic. That's where relationships live. And I think we're robbing young people a little bit by not helping them. And then maybe there's a way to guardrail this and revenue sharing where all athletes, and we have been revenue sharing in football because that money made there has contributed to other sports being able to have a quality experience. So that's sharing. And then the other part of it is that maybe you get something on the way out the door once you have finished. So I know with myself, once I've graduated and left college, okay, you're on your own. There's nothing there to help you. Trying to figure out how to pay bills and do all of that stuff was a challenge. And so I would rather see money invested and money handed to young people when they're a little more mature. You give a 19-year-old a brand new car and a lot of money, I can predict often what's going to happen. I'm sorry, but that's a fact.
In the end, college sports is what you said. It's relationships. There is something really special. And even though we are in this interesting time, there's still that love of the game and the competition and the rivalry that still exists.
Yeah, and it's got to with those guys, and they feel it, and they're children. Let's face it. I mean, I know I was at that age, and they need structure, and they need guidance, and they need genuine caring and love for them. I just don't want it to become totally transactional. You know, if you live even as a 35-year-old and all you're doing is living a transactional life, that's not too good. How long have you been there with WBR?
32 years.
Okay, there's exactly what I'm talking about. You have a love and a care for the people you work with and the organization that you work with. And so you don't want to have a transactional life. That's not how it works. And I'm afraid we're teaching them a bad lesson. And listen, I grab players when I go, and every now and then I talk to them and tell me about what you're learning and what you feel. Tell me about school. Tell me. And they actually enjoy the conversation, and we get around to understand what investment means. It's not money. Investing in people and in places. And, you know, my mother always told me, don't choose places, David, choose people. Choose people very carefully. And I've always shared that advice with players through the years.
Your mother was a very wise woman.
She was
people will always prevail. Coach, yes. Thank you. Thank you for your time on Rocky Top and beyond, and for your wisdom. Thank you.
Well, go Vols and let's win a big one.
You bet.
All right.
I'm going to stop it right now. I'm going to try to.